What's up, everybody? Just finished this kind of free-form poetry book here, Golden by Wilder. I'd definitely recommend it to anybody who's looking for something that feels like it's important, but at the same point in time, it connects with that side of things that doesn't feel like they have to prove what is important. It's something that is apparent. It's this whole idea that the machine, we can sort of add on to it when we try to make something that everybody agrees with and that everybody says is correct. But sometimes the machine, I feel like, is only meant to break, and it's a book like this that totally throws a wrench in the machine and sort of gives greater purpose to something that has feeling. And I think it's at that time where something can sort of break down. That's when we can sort of recognize things that are much more elemental. We can reduce ourselves to a state in which things become separated, they become plain, they become level. And I think that somewhere inside of us, we come from that place what has the ability to see the layers of everything. Almost like it's the most simple form of art, is just drawing lines. And it's a book like this that really does a great job at sort of making that happen and making you see and realize that without feeling like it's taxing or any of those things. I don't know, maybe it might if you kind of struggle with feeling the idea that creativity is actually something, but I feel like you can sort of see that much more in your life if you try to reenact these ideas of creativity in your own world, you know, like whether it's carving or making just some jewelry or writing your own things. You sort of realize that there's power in that, and that maybe this future in which everybody tries to depict is sort of blank. It is like a blank canvas. It is like a blank page. It is like a blank stone sort of thing. And you'll never realize that all things come from a place of feeling unless you're ready to step into the future, which is sort of like stepping into the place where you make that something for yourself. And today, rather than focusing too much on the writings, I'm going to read the passage that I shared with everybody in my life, because I'm trying to do that as much as I can. But I feel like words are sort of something that can be like those other mediums as well. And it's this place where you can sort of try to catch those feelings in an instant. It's almost like that relationship between past and present can become something which is a game when you're working with words, because words are this idea that we can express truth in sort of the most simple, universal way. And here's the section that I shared with everybody so that I could try to help create a future, you know, for myself with everybody in it that I value. And it goes, "You call me a poet, but sometimes I hold the pen in my hand and the words do not find me. How do you write love on a page when there is nothing that sounds as beautiful as you? I don't know if I'll ever be able to fill this blank space, but I promise I will never stop trying. I want you to love me. Never forget to love yourself first. Be everything you need on your best days, but especially on your worst, because you deserve to see the bright side of everything. And I know that if you look hard enough, you will find it. Be brave in a world that tries to scare you into submission, and use your voice to speak your mind. It is a beautiful place that has the power to change the way anyone looks at the sky. And if somewhere along the way you start to lose sight of who you are, don't leave yourself behind. Just follow your own lead and you will find that you are exactly where you are meant to be." And this feels sort of reassuring because I've said, you know, things like this for a long time now, but it's like, you know what, guys, like everybody who criticized me this is definitely something that a lot of people approve of in terms of reflection and in introspection and in a greater narrative as to what things are, is personal measurement, our ability to judge with our own intellect and to sort of feel things out to try to describe them. The portions that kind of stood out to me was never forget to love yourself first. Be everything you need on your best days, but especially on your worst. And I sort of really felt that the other day, because I just really had kind of everything took like 3 or 4 tries. You ever had a day like that where it was like everything took like 3 or 4 tries? And what happens to you when you have a day like that is it makes you feel like you're on the wrong track. You know, it's like everything that you have an idea for just somehow doesn't seem to work out fluidly. It's like the motion always has a tick to it. You're always having to let people know and reassure everything and reassure your world that this is what you really want to do. It makes you feel like, you know, am I actually doing what's right, what's necessary? And makes you question the importance of things, and also makes you question whether or not you want to advance in that direction, because maybe you really are changing things if things seem like they're that odd to participate in. But I think that there's a few things you can sort of draw from that, and it's that you have a weight and you have a mass in regards to everything that you've been doing. And if you can sort of keep that momentum, because all I was really doing was just sort of the daily routine that I've been doing, you can sort of prove to yourself on those days when it is bad that you don't lose anything. Because every day that you do these things and it feels right and it feels clean and everything like that, it feels like you're gaining something. But then when all of a sudden you just have sort of a moody sort of feeling or something like that, you can recognize that there's always more emotions. And I think that even being level-headed is sort of an emotion, but you can understand that on those days you really aren't losing anything, because let's be honest, everybody fluctuates. Everybody has, you know, the needle pointing in all different directions. You know, we can do our best to try to stay true north, so to speak, or whatever, but on any given day the needle can just sort of point in another direction, and it'll make you feel like you're doing things blind. But I think that if you have done things enough, and you've sort of proven things, then ultimately what you really have to prove on those days when it seems like it just takes 3, 4, you know what I mean, 5 tries to do everything that you've been doing successfully on the first try every other day, is I think maybe something's about to happen. I think that maybe you're about to actually see something really happen, and it's like opening your eyes a little bit at that moment. And you can sort of realize that you are on the right track. You 100% are on the right track. And sure, this is, you know, sort of a guessing game with things like this in regards to what actions you should take in your life and what you should share and what you shouldn't, and how you define your space and how you define public space and everything, you know, to that extent. But if you're able to get through one of those days where it just seems like it takes an extra odd amount of what it normally does, then I think that you really are about to see something. And it's it's that space in between of where you are seeing things in your head, you know, in your dreams, and that place of where you're sort of waking up. But the funny thing is about that place is a lot can happen in that time. You know, that time is almost like a time where we can stumble into things. We can sort of hit our shoulders on walls, you know, or we can sloppily handle a utensil. You know, maybe we're kind of sloppy putting on clothing or whatever. But the thing about that is that it's like that idea of just being sticky. It's like something that sticks. But I think that that's one of the most important times of the day, even though it's a very short, quick part of the day. I mean, that whole part sets you up for so many things. And I think that it's like that whole idea of most that everybody talks about, or that idea of the seams, you know, it seems like it, which means that there's much to be held in consideration. But if we're able to sort of close off the seams, or have strong seams, you know, or have strong coulds or woulds or shoulds or shouldn'ts kind of things, right? Then I think that we can really, you know, get to the place where maybe we are about to grow some wings. And if we're having a whole day that feels like that, then I feel like I can kind of say, like, maybe you're just about to, you know, wake up into a new life, a new world. Just like, you know, how you feel like that in the mornings. And it's going to be a short little kind of awkward time. But if you've set yourself up right, and you should be able to trust in setting yourself up right, then you know that you'll be waking up in a place where, you know what, you can be a little bit of emotional, you can be a little bit of honest, and the funny thing is true, and you can relate things to people and to your surroundings in a way that they know that it's that time of the day, and it's time to get ready. And I think that you should always be looking for that time to get ready. And maybe if you're just having one of those days, just remind yourself and just think, like, you know what, I should sort of have fun with this a little bit, because it's during that time when you really have the time in between each action to consider whether or not this is something that you want to make true. You have that time. You have that time to consider, just like the seams of things, you know, or the sortas, to really figure out if this is a practice, this is a habit that you want to cement into one of your greatest theories. And then maybe it can become a practicing theory. All right, guys, so we'll get on to the next one, and I'm actually going to hand this book over to my sister because I let her take a look at it and she really liked it. So anyways, everybody, I'll catch y'all later, okay?